I went on a podcast today and I just want to take take a minute for the makeup. I've been baking and I'm just baffled at how much this works. It's 112 degrees outside here in Florida. The fact that I went on the podcast and then walked around Miami and I had jeans on because of the podcast I was on. What? Anywho, the podcast that I went on today was called I Missed Me. My friend Julian actually helps partially with the producing of it, and he had met me a few months ago and was like, the more I'm getting to know you, I feel like this would be a really great podcast for you because you just talk about how far you've come and where you've grown and just the things that you have that you probably wouldn't have had if you didn't have ABCXYZ experiences. And I was like, this sounds really great. So I went on the podcast today. It was super easy. And I was just so proud of myself because I was prepared for the questions. I rambled on a couple because I was like, God, I could go 17 different directions with this answer, but there's just some that I was really proud of. So I'm like a really happy girl right now. And obviously really happy about my makeup, so I'm kind of sad that I have to take it off right now. It was during the podcast that I realized how far, honestly, I'd come because some of the questions that she had asked me, if you had asked me this probably 3, maybe 4 years ago, I honestly wouldn't have even had an answer. I wouldn't have even known what to say. I would have just been stumped and I would be like, I've never thought of these questions. But one of them was my deal breakers or non-negotiables when it comes to a guy. And I was like, would you be embarrassed if I grabbed my cell phone? Because I actually have an entire list on my phone. And I made myself do this about 2 years ago because I was like, I need to know like some things that are really important to me. And obviously the list is always evolving and changing. And maybe I'm removing some things or adding some extra things on. And I was like, oh my God, I actually know how to answer these types of questions now. And I have to say, I've had some really cool opportunities to go on some different podcasts to be able to tell my story. And I've met some incredible people. But this is one of those podcasts where I talked a little bit more about my emotions. And obviously, if you follow me, I don't really talk about my emotions too much. Sometimes I feel like there isn't really much for me to say. Or, everyone always says, post your content, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes I don't even know how to put into words how I'm feeling about certain things. Because, I don't date. So it's like, well, what can I really talk about? But it was really cool because I was able to talk about, some of my experiences, some people that I have met, the impacts that they've had on my life. And to just remind myself that if I hadn't have gone through that shitty breakup 3.5, how many years ago now? 4 years? I don't know, 4 or 5. I can't even keep up now. It was COVID. If I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have any of the things that I have right now, which is wild to think about. So there's always a true silver lining to everything. And at the end of every single time she does the podcast, she asks you, what does healing mean to you? So I was just really excited. I thought it was great. And I have a short work day tomorrow. Very short, literally one meeting. Dinner, Memorial Day weekend. So I'll be running around and playing golf. So I hope you all have a really great weekend. And maybe feel free to comment below what you think healing is or your emotions, because I'm trying. Bye.